Then in the space of like 2 more months, after that, I'm now at like 3,400. So like 50% increase in following in like 2 months, which was huge. And like the outcomes there, so we signed two inbound clients like for really good fees. Like they're really solid for the agency.
I'm glad to catch up with you, have you on here. Obviously, we were talking a little bit before we
Mhm.
started recording. It's good to talk one on one again. But let's
Always.
let's kind of jump in a little bit to when you started working with us, what your goals were, because I feel like we haven't reached we've kind of covered some of your goals so far, but we haven't reached like the next level, which is implementing that coaching stuff yet.
Yeah.
But what just kind of walk me through when we started, what your goals were, what the biggest issue you were facing, and like why you got started with us.
100%. Yeah. So I think I started around July. I believe it was kind of like early July. And really what it was like I knew I had a lot of knowledge on like my specific service and what I do, like email and SMS marketing. I knew there was like a lot to just to get out of here and kind of just showcase like what I do a bit more on Twitter. I had a little bit of a, I guess, not going to say a following, but I was kind of known on Twitter, just like
I
mostly
remember.
through like having friends in the space. But now I would say I actually have a following. Like that's probably like the big thing that's happening just in the space of like 2 months. And I kind of wanted to build a brand around that. Like the biggest thing I wanted help on, and it's something you guys have helped me with a ton, is like actually putting just voice and personality into everything. Because if I think back to anyone I've followed whose content I've really enjoyed, it's always down to them having like kind of not even purpose, not to say that they're purposely putting on quirks or whatever it is, but they just embody all of their quirks and uniqueness as an individual. It's something I always really enjoyed. So a big thing, like my goal was to obviously sign clients through Twitter, and it's something that I've done now on a couple of occasions, which is really sick. Um, but also just to become an authority in the space, have that kind of respect. And so yeah, it's been really, really good so far. Yeah, the main thing I wanted was to primarily grow Twitter. Now we're looking at other platforms and really scaling those and
Yep.
putting
We were
personality
just
and
talking
showing
about
off
that.
expertise. Yeah, 100%.
YouTube, IG, all that. Now, what did you try before coming to us? Like, what kind of solutions were you working on trying? Like, did you try any strategies like purchase anyone else's programs, start work with an agency, or did you like try different things yourself? Like, what was the mindset?
So I probably tried like Twitter growth guides and stuff like that. Side note, anyone listening, don't use those. Really don't. Like you want to like I tried Twitter growth guides. I looked at YouTube videos, this, that, and the other. Maybe I bought like some low ticket stuff, talking like 37, $57 kind of courses. But I think before I jumped into the actual coaching program you guys run, um, all that stuff is very tactic heavy. And I think a bigger thing with launch socials, and especially with like the coaching calls we get on every week, is like actually teaching principles of like, even yesterday I had a thread about like writing Spanish or learning Spanish really quickly, which I did probably about like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Logan told me like work a lot more on your headlines, and he sent me a doc with 350 like winning headlines.
Yep.
Like it was like some old copywriting headlines. It was really, really good. Really, really good thing to do. So a normal thread of mine might get like 30, 40 likes, and my thread yesterday got like 220 or something, like as of right now. And it's because I just had that principle of like, hey, like you need to work on the hook and the headline and actually make sure that that's enticing. So what I tried was more like tactic laden, whereas I feel launch socials is more actually teaching principles. Where if I had that same principle on YouTube, it would work. If I had that principle on TikTok, it would work. It doesn't matter what the
It's
platform
like
is;
a
it's going to work.
content. It's like a content principle. It's a marketing principle rather than a you do X, Y, and Z on this IG post and it might get pushed to explore page.
Mm,
Some kind of weird like scammy little tactic.
exactly. Yeah, and that's the other thing, right? Like, let's say you buy an info product and it's full of tactics, but like tactics change. Like Instagram will change, like its algorithm, Twitter will change theirs, TikTok, YouTube, all of them. So like having an actual ironclad understanding of principles and then doing. So like your coaches tell you what to do, you do it, you implement it, and you actually get real world tangible examples of, okay, I work on improving my headline. And then once I actually put that into practice, I see a massive difference in how the thread actually performs. So it really ingrains it into your head of like, okay, this works. Like this principle is absolutely valid and it's something to focus on. So yeah, that was massively impactful. I think just learning the principles of marketing, it's been huge.
I love that. That's a good point that I haven't really thought of, but I love that. Um, let's talk about a little bit like what your outcome looks like so far. Followers you've gained, clients you've signed. Maybe just overview that a little bit.
Yeah, man. So I think I was at maybe, I believe I was at like 2,300 or 2,400 followers when I joined in July, and now I'm at like 3,500. So bear in mind those those 2,300 were amassed over like a year and 9 months,
And
and like
also, they kind of came with your old content and kind of just like the social
yeah,
proof, you knew people, but you weren't really putting content out there like that.
yeah, I wasn't, and like that's why as a result it was kind of slower, you know. And so then in the course of like I really think like in the next 30 days I'll probably be at like probably 4.5, 5K, something like that. And so with so from there, from 2,300 over the course of like 19 months, no more, 20, like 21 months actually, sorry, that took me to get to like 2,300. Then in the space of like 2 more months, after that I'm now at like 3,400. So like 50% increase in following, in like 2 months, which was huge. Um, and like the outcomes there, so we signed two inbound clients like for really good fees. Like they're really solid for the agency, really good fees, help us continue scaling, at a healthy rate, pay
Yep.
our staff well. That's kind of how we believe in doing it. Like, and they're just brilliant clients to work with, where like they really trust your authority. It's way different to, an outbound lead. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So that's been a big thing. And also it's given me other opportunities. I did an interview with Chase Diamond the other week, which was huge. And I think if it wasn't for me kind of having like kind of appeared around like the kind of space, I don't think that would have happened. So
Or
uh,
gives you kind of that social proof that's needed. And I noticed this when I started like growing my personal and reaching out. Because what I used to do when I used to sign IG clients, I used to reach out from like one of my big theme pages and
yeah,
self DM them. And they're like, oh, wait, 500K followers is like, and this is like back like 3 years ago. 500K followers is a lot. Like they're reaching out to me. Like, I should probably talk to them, you know?
yeah,
And you have that kind of social proof now.
yeah. I mean, it works so well. Yeah. I mean, if you DM a client from a Twitter account with, 15, 20K followers on it, that's way different than like just some random faceless person who cold emails you and just lands in your inbox with some wacky domain. So I think these days as well, I was talking with Daniel, cold email wizard Daniel, about this, and he was like, kind of agreed. If you don't attach a face to what you're doing, if you don't attach a brand to what you're doing at this stage with where online business is going, it is maturing overall.
Yeah.
You're going to get left behind. You need to have a brand attached to what you do. And it's not to say don't do outbound. Like I'm all for that. Like I still do it, but it's just completely changed when you have authority behind you and you're reaching out. It's like that brand plus like when you're like that
Let's
brand.
say, let's even say you have the personal and you don't take any inbound leads. You just do outbound from a personal brand with like 20K followers.
Yeah.
It's just easier. It's just easier to get results.
100%. I mean, like we are naturally status driven creatures.
Yeah.
Like just naturally, it is ingrained in us, and like we respect status and that kind of thing. So, um, yeah. I mean, from there, I mean, look, if you're selling a service, like even if it's a B2B service, I mean, look, if you're running a coaching business, look, you absolutely need a personal brand. It's going to be the main driver of business. But even now, with a B2B service business, if you're not building your brand, you're going to get left behind in the next couple of
A
years.
a
Just
hundred percent. Sweet, bro. I love all that. What were some things that you maybe were like skeptical of though? Like maybe it was us, maybe just thinking overall, like is a personal brand gonna work? You were afraid to post content or something. Kind of like lay that out.
So I wasn't skeptical of you guys at all because I'd followed Logan for so long, and I just knew he was like obviously knew he was super legit, and like our kind of, I guess, connection actually goes way back. It goes back a couple of years. So I just like I've learned a lot from Logan in particular, like in terms of like blowing up on Twitter, and then I knew you through a couple of friends who I know are clients at your agency, and they were like, yeah, like this is like genuinely do this. This will be sick. So then I came in, so I trusted the two of you like right away. Um, the things I the okay, so the main thing I was skeptical of was I was like, like maybe anyone who's watching this and kind of has a B2B service, they can probably relate to this. Is oftentimes the services we run, they're kind of dry topics, right? Like it's
Yeah.
my worry was like, okay, am I gonna just look like an NPC with what I'm putting out there of like just putting out this content, like without how am I going to infuse some spice, some personality, a bit of life to it, something exciting. And like that's something that I'm still figuring out, fully. but it's so much better, from even when I started. So I started doing like daily threads probably about a month and a half
I
ago.
think we need a heavy Irish accent voice message on Twitter, like right after this.
Bro, 100%. Yeah, bro, it's the videos do. I think we were like, yeah, I don't care what this guy is saying. This is just enchanting here. Like, but yeah, I mean, I think like that was massive. So to be able to like infuse a bit of personality into what you're doing, so that it's not just, here's how to drive more revenue from your welcome flow or whatever it might be. It's like, okay, I use this analogy a lot because I think it's funny, but two, because I think it illustrates the point quite well. It's like, you look at fitness YouTube, right? A very competitive space. There's a ton of fitness YouTubers out there, and they all cook eggs, right? Every day they all cook eggs. It's like it's not too dissimilar. So like when you are watching your favorite fitness YouTuber cook eggs, you're not watching for the eggs. You're watching because they're the person cooking them. So I want it to be, the kind of content I put out about email marketing. If it is dry, if it is like cooking eggs, I want them to be at least listening. It's like, okay, I'm going to listen to this because of who's cooking the eggs, because of who's delivering the information. Um, so yeah, that was the biggest kind of hurdle I suppose I had in the beginning, where I was like, am I going to be able to really infuse a lot of personality into the kind of content that I'm going to be creating? But yeah, we've been able to do that successfully, and it's only going to get better and better.
Amazing, bro. And if there's one thing you'd change about the whole experience, everything, what would that be?
So like my main pet peeve with any coaching program is always when courses are really long, but this one isn't. So like that's like the only pet peeve I really have is like I love when courses are just bam 4 minute video loom, just like chuck it out, no high production value, nothing like that.
Yep.
Here 3 minute loom, 7 minute loom, just like explaining a situation. That's like when coaching programs do that, I'm like, boom, this is exactly what I want. um I change,
And
I
and
mean.
on that note, I want to add something. It's we kind of set it up where it's almost like standard operating procedures. It's like if you need to know exactly how you should make this Calendly and ClickFunnels the
Mhm.
way you're supposed to make it, just go watch this video, right? If you don't need to
Yeah,
watch the rest of it, just watch this.
100%. Yeah, I mean, like they're so easy to follow in every capacity. I think I don't know what I would change. I mean, like the only thing maybe would be like, I guess, revisiting the first doc that we ever made, because that'd just be kind of like, that'd just be like a good, that'd nearly be trippy of being like, wow, like this is like where it was like the starting point, this is ground zero, and just revisiting how it kind of came to
Sure.
be. I guess like revisiting that maybe, but then again, I could just do that on a coaching call sometime. Like so there's not much I'd change, because the course is really short, which is the best way. Like I like when that's really short. The course is the smallest element of it. Like the more the element is like you guys actually coaching and being like, here, like do this in your specific situation. You need to do this right now.
Yes.
Um, so no, man, like it's really coaching heavy. You know what I mean? So like that's what I needed in that position. So no, I think it's perfect. Coaching heavy, not too heavy on the course.
I
Love
appreciate
that.
that. And if there's one thing you're happiest about, what do you think that would be?
I think for me, Twitter was probably where I wanted to focus on first. I can really nail that. Sometimes I'm kind of, maybe it's just the way I think. I like to kind of nail one thing first and then like go on to the next. I remember like my brother used to always laugh at me growing up, because I'd eat all my vegetables first, then all of the whatever carb source it was, then I'd eat the meat. You know what I mean? At dinner. Always used to laugh at me. So like literally that's, yeah, a little pattern. But like I think there, depending on what platform you want to grow on, favorite thing is like it doesn't matter what platform you want to grow on, because like there's coaches who understand each platform unbelievably well. So like you understand Twitter really well, but like really like IG is like your main wheelhouse.
Yeah.
IG and like, short form video content, probably your main wheelhouse, and then also like the knowledge you have around like actually selling coaching programs, in the DMs, closing frameworks, all that. And then
Yes.
Logan's background is really Twitter. So now as I'm like really moving into like short form video, like there's a coach for like really everything that you're trying to do. So like my favorite thing is that it's like, like I don't like, I'm never like, oh, I don't want to send this guy my TikTok because he's not gonna he doesn't know if it's gonna perform, or if it's gonna perform, or if it's good. So my favorite thing is like no matter what platform you want to really smash, you're covered.
Because principles like we were talking about earlier, really.
Exactly. Principles first. Like, I mean, tactics obviously go away, and it's so funny now when I think back to Twitter accounts for people online saying learn copywriting, learn copywriting. I used to be like, what? Like, why would I hand copy out sales letters from 1963? But now it's like I actually understand like learn copywriting because it's like they're actually nearly all copywriting principles when you think about it. They're all principles of marketing. And
It's the
so
hook,
it's
the problem, agitate, solution, whatever.
yeah, it's literally all of that. And you follow the framework and you can literally see in real time your analytics changing.
Yeah,
So it's kind of wild how like yeah, that's like just crazy bunch of people in like the 60s, 70s just figured out marketing. It's kind of wild.
for sure. And then, dude, is there anything you want to add, at the end here? Anything you want to leave in this video? It's like a final thing?
Yeah, I'd say if I was going to leave something final, I'd almost like imagine like I'm speaking to me prior to joining the program, like with kind of any like kind of skepticism I'd have. If you're selling a B2B service and you're worried about not being able to infuse personality into what you're doing, like this is literally the place for you. So that's probably the main thing I'd leave it with. Like, don't worry about, oh, like this isn't going to work for me because I need to seem professional, bro. Like the both the no all three clients who've now signed through Twitter in the last couple of months, they all like my most stupid out of pocket tweets, like almost exclusively. They don't like the threads. They don't like the email marketing threads. They don't want to be working with some square, so don't be afraid to show that personality. And, if you're looking for someone to teach you how to actually get what's in here, what's in your personality out into your content, then this is the place really. So that's what I'd say.
Amazing, dude. I appreciate that a lot. Thanks
100%.
for coming on, bro.
Yeah, bro. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And let's keep crushing it.